Chicago's victory over New York in Game 6 of the NBA semifinal series. And Phil, let's take a look at the highlights right away in this ball game. This is a must-win for the Bulls. They're on the brink of elimination, and boy, you guys came out big.
Well, this is one of our proud moments as far as the Bulls team. We came out with such great energy. The fans were behind us. They wouldn't let us lose, and we came in with a great game, dominated the game, really. It showed, you know, maybe a little bit of the punk attitude that the Knicks had because of the trips, the takedowns, all those kind of things. The game really was not a contest because we contained the game so well. You can see some of the extracurricular activity that went on in the ball game. We really contained this ball club in this ball game. And although they got it to 8 and they got it to 6 in the second half, this is a team that we really dominated this night. And I felt very confident after this game, going into Game 7, we were truly going to be a victor after seeing us play against the team. We played such a sound game. Ewing woke up a little bit after Pippen dunked on him there, and he got about 8 or 10 points.
It's a good wake-up call.
Yeah, other than that, we really took it to this team with extra baskets, offensive rebounds, controlled the loose balls, and the turnover situation.
You were quickest to the loose balls. Today, the Knicks were quickest to the loose balls, it seemed like, or the bounce of the ball.
Yes.
It seemed very much it. Two great veterans on this ball club who were a part of the championship run. Bill Cartwright, John Paxson, played their last games this year, this week for the Chicago Bulls. What are your thoughts on those two veterans?
Well, we assume that, you know, as their careers are ending, and that's an assumption, I should say, that, you know, these two ball players have contributed so greatly to this team. And at the end in the locker room, you know, I gave a pause before we broke open and had people in, and media came in to have them just express a little bit of what they had to say to the team. Sentimentally, nostalgia, the runs, and to kind of give emphasis to the younger players, Luke Longley and the younger ball players that have come to this team, the English and Blunt, who was there with us in the locker room, what it means to be a Bull and what it means to have been down 6, 7 years ago where you're fighting for your life and then be a champion and what it's like to be at the top. And the two of them spoke very well, and I thought carried a lot of emphasis to our players about, you know, staying with it, being diligent about your professionalism, and those are attributes that I think both of them possess very well. Playing through injuries, knowing what their roles were on the basketball club, and being able to stand up in big games, which they, of course, have proven over the course of time.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Cartwright played in this series, like you said, like he was 24.
Yes.
Chicago Stadium memories for you, Phil. I mean, you played in the stadium as a member of the New York Knicks. You coached there, and certainly one of the great moments, I would imagine, was the championship win over Portland. Game 6, Chicago Stadium, the come-from-behind effort, and then the celebration out in the middle of Chicago Stadium with the fans afterward. Had to be a special moment.
That was a great moment in Bulls history and in stadium history. There's no doubt about it. But there have been other great moments besides that. There have been moments in which, you know, Michael Jordan's had great games in the stadium. I think that the game in which he hit 5 3-pointers in the first half against Portland has to stand out as one of those great moments in the finals. The first final game against the Lakers, even though we lost it, it was a 1-point contest, and, you know, Perkins hit a 3-pointer almost at the end of the game to contain a Bulls run in which we were 15-2 in that championship run in the playoffs, a magnificent run in a series. And I think there are many special moments during this Bulls run, but the stadium itself has a certain ambience. I think that the fans only themselves know.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned. Coming up, we'll talk with the general manager of the Chicago Bulls. We continue. Back on No Bull, it's a pleasure to be joined by the general manager of the Chicago Bulls, Jerry Krause, who has done a tremendous job of building this basketball team and has to be given an awful lot of credit for the way it performed this season. Jerry, you hung with your players and hung with your guns and got a 55-win season, a 3-0 over Cleveland, and then pushed the Knicks to 7 games in the Eastern Conference. Congratulations on a good season.
Well, thank you, Wayne. We're really proud of this group. This was a special group in a lot of ways, and everybody gave a tremendous effort all year long, and the coaching staff did a tremendous job all year long. And as an organization, we're very proud. We're sad because you don't like to lose, and certainly I probably don't like to lose as much as anybody in this city, and we've got to. Now we're going to go about the job. The season ended this afternoon, and right after it ended, we started working, and we'll start working for the future.
Jerry, you know, the one question that came up as soon as I said all the retinue about, you know, hey, you know, today we got beat, but we weren't defeated, you know, all the things about the Knicks beat us to the ball and all the reasons for our loss. After I stopped and they said the first question, you see it as an end of the era for the Chicago Bulls? And I had to say no. But I know that you would like to hear that question come to you.
Well, I think that we're going to work very hard, as obviously the staff and myself and the organization, Mr. Reinsdorf and the organization, we're going to work very hard to continue this for a long time to come. We think we've established something. We have fine young players on this team. We think that this is going to be a good ball club for a long time to come, and I think the fans will see that we'll put a tremendous effort out to continue this thing along the way, and this has been something that we've been very proud of, and you hate to lose, and I hate to lose, and Jerry hates to lose, and everybody in the city hates to lose, and we're going to work like extremely hard not to lose.
All right, now the next question obviously is that, hey, the lottery pick was today. You know, all those guys, those balls rolled down, and here was everybody. Here's what we pick, and here's where the building goes on. And now it's time to build. You know, what are the
Well, of
Bulls
course,
gonna do?
Phil, you know, we'll look at everything. We'll look at free agency. We'll look at, first of all, we'll look at our own players to re-sign our own free agents. We have a number of them. Then we'll look at other free agents. We'll look at the draft. We've made many moves over the last 9 years. I think we moved up in the draft 4 times. We moved down a couple of times. We certainly haven't been bashful about doing things. And after we meet, you and I and the coaches and the scouts will meet later this week. We will talk about personnel and talk about all those things. You and I, of course, will meet with the players earlier before that, and we'll set a course, and we'll sit down and battle and go from there.
Jerry, people want to know, fans want to know right away. I mean, Horace Grant has made it no secret that he wants out of here, and Scott Williams has said some things, although he backed off today after the ball game. Where does all that sit? I mean, are you guys in the running for these guys? Do you intend to sign Horace Grant?
Yeah, we certainly are very hopeful of signing Horace Grant, and we'll see what happens in this situation. Things are said during the season. Rhetoric is said, and certainly we feel that we're going to sit down and go at it and try to get Horace signed. We want him here with the franchise, and certainly very strongly want him here with the franchise.
If you sign a Horace Grant, for example, where do you sit in terms of adding another player through free agency? Do you still have Michael Jordan's salary slot available to you?
Yeah, we still have a $2 million salary slot available from Michael, and we could have other salary slots available, and we'll see as that goes along, and we'll look at every avenue, Wayne. The one thing I think this organization has gone through, we've done it in a lot of different ways. If you remember, John Paxson was a free agent that we signed. We've done a lot of trading. We've done a lot of drafting. Pippen and Grant, of course, were drafts, and Cartwright was through a trade. And so we've done it in many different ways. And again, we'll look at every avenue, and whichever avenue that we think is best for this franchise this time, that's what we'll do.
But you're still going after Horace Grant?
Oh, no question about it. We certainly want Horace in this franchise. We want him here for the rest of his career, and we hope to make him a Bull for the rest of his career.
Really quick, and maybe for both of you, how do you avoid what happened to Boston, L.A., Detroit? How do you keep it going? What's the formula?
Well, we think, you know, and I'll speak for Jerry, that we have the continuity to do it. Pippen and the Grant are mature players. They're not young, but they're not old. They still have plenty of years ahead of them in the process. We brought in a Luke Longley that's grown under Bill Cartwright this year. We think he's going to be a replacement center, and we got good backup centers in, you know, Will Perdue and in Bill Wennington. And then the other things that fall behind Bill, you know, BJ is an established pro now, and we have to maybe fill in a slot at the 2 guard or whatever else. Pete Myers played probably better than anybody today.
Yes.
But there we are. We are incrementally short of just being at that point.
Wayne, we think we have the young basis. When you look at Longley and you look at Tony Kukoc, who we think had a fine rookie year and is going to get a lot better, and we think Corey Blount has a chance to be a fine player someday, and JoJo English certainly showed us points where we think he can be a good player, and we have young talent to go with our older veterans.
Sounds to me, though, like the key is signing Horace Grant. If that doesn't happen, then what do you do?
Well, certainly, if we are not able to sign Horace Grant, I think you'll see us be extremely active in the free agent field, and we will go after players, and we will certainly be very active. Jerry Reinsdorf and the ownership group and Phil and myself will make those decisions at the proper time, but we're not going to be quiet, and we're going to try to continue this winning and be a winner here for many, many years to come, and whichever avenue we have to use, we'll use.
Jerry, best of luck. It's going to be a busy and interesting offseason for you.
Well, thank you, Wayne, and I want to thank the fans because the support was tremendous all year long, and they're the greatest sports fans in the world, and this is my hometown, and I love every one of them.
All right. Jerry,
Thanks,
thank
Jerry.
you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be back to reflect on the season with Coach Jackson after these words. Welcome back to No Bull. You know, when teams play this late in May, there is very little difference between them. And oftentimes it's a bounce of the ball or maybe a call. And if you look at this series, Phil Jackson, I'm sure you have to feel, and this is not sour grapes time, but that one call by Hugh Hollins in Game 5, a foul that could or could not have been called on Scottie Pippen, again, Hubert Davis missed the shot and then went to the line, hit 2 free throws that beat you. If that call is not made, you guys are playing today, or you've just finished playing Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Championship Series against Indiana at home.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, and we can't look at it that way. Otherwise, we feel like, hey, you know, things don't roll right for people that are
Right.
doing the right thing, and so we have to dismiss that. And whatever happened, and whatever that call was that changed the complexity of this series, you know, we have to feel like, hey, we did the things that we thought were right this year. We played a good series. We did the job basically against the Knicks, a team that had beaten us 3 out of 4 games this season. And we carried the day against them in 6 games. In the 7th game, we got beat, but we weren't defeated. You understand what it is?
Yes,
There's
I
a big
do.
difference.
Does the best team always win a 7-game series? Because there are a lot of people around here that don't feel the best team won.
I think that's true. I think there's a feeling in the air, and I think the team feels like the best team did not play the game today that they could have won. Many things happened in today's game that changed the complexity of the game. And the Knicks play with great aggression in front of their home crowd, and you have to give them the credit for that. But the thing about it is that, you know, sometimes the best team or the team that plays as a team the best doesn't win.
Right.
Sometimes talent wins too. But that doesn't mean the Knicks are going to win. We can't just throw it out and say, hey, the Knicks are going to win the championship. They still have a long ways to go. What matters is the journey that this team had to take. The fact that we'd won 3 championships in a row, and that we have to lose 2, and lose graciously as champions, and be gracious losers, and still have class and character. And I was very proud of our players today. I told them so too.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like a loss? Do you feel a loss? Do you feel like a part of you maybe died out there at Madison Square Garden today? The championships, that type of thing. I know fans feel a tremendous loss.
Well, it's a tremendous loss. I mean, here's a team that had a chance to win the 4th championship in a row without a Michael Jordan. Everybody had decried the fact they were going to be a 500 team with it, and they stood up on their hind legs all season long, played hard, played as a team, worked as a team, had great discipline. I think if anybody was asked who played better team ball in the NBA than the Bulls this year, they would say no one.
Yeah.
And from that standpoint, we have to be tremendously proud of our players.
Congratulations on the season, Phil. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Wayne. It's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure being with you each Sunday night. I'll miss it. I wish it could have been next week. We could be
bet.
talking during the Eastern Conference Finals, but not to be this year. Thank you also for watching and listening on Channel 9 this season to No Bull. That'll do it for us, and we hope to see you again next year. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
No Bull with Bill Jackson has been brought to you by your local Dodge dealers. By Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And by Nissan. It's time to expect more from a car. Casa